Welcome to the Microsoft Security Insights Podcast with your hosts, Franklin Grimberg and Edward Walton, where we discuss Microsoft 365 security and Azure security news and products.
Oh, by the way, Frank, we need to get like an ending audio thing
Recorded
for our podcast.
March 2nd, 2022. Good evening, Brody. Good evening, Rod. Good evening, Franklin. How's everyone doing today?
Great. How's everyone else?
Super duper.
Well,
Super duper.
yeah.
This is a good learning week for me, man. I got a little trick and tool that I'm going to steal from someone and maybe share the, if I get made host, share my Azure environment. Rob may already know it, but I had never seen this feature before inside Sentinel. Big shout out to Rian Wu for doing it on Teach Chris Something. We everybody on the team has to teach our manager something during the team meeting, right? So you get about 5 to 15 minutes to show something cool. Okay,
That's cool. That's a really cool idea.
Do you get graded on it?
It goes towards your OKRs.
Really? What if he doesn't? What if he already knew it? Then what do you do?
Then you don't get nothing.
I'm smarter than Chris.
Then it's called no KRs.
Yeah. then
everybody
Ed's returning something to the store.
Everybody gets to present of a sort. No, good stuff. I hands in a bunch of stuff, watching Shadir talk about the log analytic, basic logging and log. The other name for it is, I'm not going to steal his thunder because he's coming on the show April 13th. And that's going to give him time to refine a bunch of stuff that he's doing. But now I know this, that the basic log is synonymous with integrated archive. That's what it is.
So
when
no.
You sure?
So both analytics log. Okay, let's do it this way. I like to make things easy. Analytics logs, which is what we've all worked with. We didn't call them analytics logs before. All we called them was log analytics workspaces that Azure Sentinel sits on top of. Now they're called analytics logs. They haven't changed. They're absolutely the same. We've included this new thing called basic logs. Both analytics logs and basic logs are archivable.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. And the only difference, right? And so you probably know this already. The only difference between the two, well, there's several differences actually. Basic logs, the ingestion cost is cheaper, right? So analytics logs for those things that aren't free for Azure Sentinel, right? Ingestion cost is like what, $2, depending on what region you're in. It's about $2 per gigabyte, right? For ingestion, for those things you don't pay for. Basic logs is only like 50 cents per gig for ingestion, right? And basic logs is intended for those log files that you don't necessarily need long for that 90 days for Microsoft Sentinel. So these are like NetFlow logs, cloud storage access logs, where you have thousands of users connecting to cloud storage and it's going to produce a lot of information. You don't want to keep that for any length of time. So basic logs are only good for 8 days. That's 8-day retention for basic logs. And then they automatically go to archive at that point.
So I was following this presentation, so that's where I sort of lost because I came in like 15 minutes. So he had an outstanding PowerPoint slide that he showed, and I think it came from Spark. So I said, you got to come on and show this because right now I'm getting, and the customer did it live. It was actually pretty cool to see it done. A little bit of PowerShell, understand what your subscription layout. But the thing that resonated with me on this is that when you have to come back and rehydrate of a sorts or re-ingest that,
restore your archives,
there's a cost.
Well, there's an ingestion cost, right? And
there's another cost. And the search cost.
If you use it for search, right?
Yes. So what do people do when they're trying to bring in legacy logs and stuff because they believe they had an incident and they want to do, long tail forensics? You're searching.
Yeah, but to be honest though, and this is just my siloed thinking probably, a SOC that is efficient and working as it should through their policies and processes, compliance and stuff like this, 90 days of active data is actually too long. So this stuff that they're storing long-term for up to 7 years, this new archive log stuff that we have, they're probably never, ever going to touch it. They're only doing it for compliance sake.
Yeah.
Most likely.
And that customer's CISO, she mirrored your exact comments.
Yeah.
She said, if we got to go back here, we got something bad to happen.
Yeah.
And she agreed. 90 days is probably the max everyone keep what she termed hot logs, right? If you can't figure out something in 90 days, you got bigger problems.
That's right.
And so they totally understood it because they had been working with them as a private preview, and they like, yeah, let's go ahead and turn this on now. And they caught Shadir off balance a little bit. He's like, now, yeah, let's do it right now. Got the screen up, and he walked them through it. There are a couple of catches. You don't have the PowerShell modules on the machine that you're doing it. We got to get the modules down.
Yeah.
The selection of the table that you want to bring in is pretty slick. The amount of retention has very specific range sets that you do to do it when you take it or you bring it back, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing justice. So that's it. Hey, would you mind coming on and we're going to make this a video. We want to be able to see this. And so what I'm going to do, I have enough time between April, here in April 13th, is that I'm going to set up our lab environment, my lab environment, and we're going to do it live. I'm gonna stage everything except for the actual process, right? Make sure the PowerShell modules are there, things along that line. I have the subscription written out, so I don't have to guess. I have the right account, and we're gonna just do it live because I don't have a risk of getting a big bill. I don't have that much telemetry in mind, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
I need to catch myself real quick. I said something incorrect earlier that basic logs automatically are archived. There's the option to archive. If you've set that archive bit, then yeah, they will automatically go, but that's an option that you can set.
Part of the archive bit is when you run the PowerShell command and it brings up this table.
Yeah.
And it'll ask you what tables based on the connectors and the data that you already have in there. So what it does, it takes those tables and creates a skeleton or frame in your archive. So now as you bring stuff into it, it knows where to put these things.
Yeah.
Right. I'm super interested in it. My only trepidation is this. This is not a lead solution. This is a solution where you already are mature of a sort of what you are bringing in already. And now you realize these logs right here that we're ingesting either in LAW or ADX, they don't have that type of security value to pay that amount. Let's go ahead and put them here.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm telling the sellers in the field, don't lead with that. That is
unless I would make an exception, unless you know that part of the customer requirement is something like NetFlow logs or something that you know is just huge, right?
So you must have been on a phone call today. It really goes on that because these individuals use IoT.
Okay.
Stuff that's coming in, right? And they have multi-geographical regions, right? So I got to look at their tables, and they had a bunch of custom logs, atypical tables based on the connectors and stuff like that, Sysmon stuff, a bunch of stuff, right? So it was interesting to see it. It generally sparked the interest. It's a little bit convoluted.
What does it do to ADX?
ADX is still an option. So, ADX can be stored beyond that 7 years, which is the limit for our archive logs. Currently, ADX can be 100 years, 110 years. It's indefinite. Why you would want to store it that length of time unless you're in a Planet of the Apes movie, I have no idea. But
have you not lived in our world lately?
Yeah.
Anything can happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a meme earlier. It just literally said, "Hey, somebody put that back in the cave." Thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, all right.
Brady Bunch. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Is that don't tell me. Raiders of the Hidden Tomb or something came on Disney or FX or something?
Oh my goodness.
That was the Brady Bunch Hawaii episode where Greg they found this tiki idol and everything bad happened to Greg. He
right?
Wiped out and during his surf competition, and
what I got.
Oh, that's super awesome.
KQL couple completion, baby.
Whoa, I've only heard about these mugs. I didn't know they actually existed. That's
Yeah, man.
crazy. That's crazy. Congratulations, Ed.
I know, right?
What did you complete?
The KQL Muslan KQL series, put together and curated by our outstanding co-host, Mr. Rod Trent, and supporting a great cause. All proceeds go to St. Jude Children's Hospital, one of the best outstanding charity endeavors in the world. I visited the facility many a time
That's
up in
awesome.
Memphis. So
All right.
cheers
so,
to that. But I want to show you something. I want to make the host real quick.
Well, Frank wants to say something. I think he's been trying to say something for 15 minutes. Let's give him a second.
There's a lot. I've not been focusing in on the Sentinel world this past week. We're going to go over all of that that's taking place other than the logs here, because I want to learn about real time. I guess you can transform the data coming in. ASIM now is part of everything. So whatever
So,
order you want.
Yep.
that.
Any new deployment of Microsoft Sentinel, the ASIM's built in, right? What does it stand for? Advanced Security Information Model. Literally, the idea behind this, we talked about this before. It's being able to correlate any and all type of data that comes in, no matter what format, what type it is. And literally, what this does is, when you stand up Microsoft Sentinel, there's a bunch of new functions that get put into that environment workspace. And so utilizing those functions. Yeah, go ahead.
And what about transforming data while you're ingesting the logs, something like that? I skimmed through a video the other day, and
It seems very log stashes to me, which is a good thing, right? Being
Yeah.
able to manipulate it and condition the logs for what you actually need before you bring in, right? So it's not bad.
So there's a tool. So as you want to kind of build your own ASIM, your own parsers for this, there's a tool that comes with this too that you can install in your environment to run it against those data sources to make sure that the data is parsed and correlated correctly.
I'm going to give it a shot against my Meraki environment because, as you told me, those logs are garbage when they come in. It's so hard to parse and all that. So I'm going to give it a shot against that. And
Don't break it, Ed.
so what else did they announce?
Break it.
Let's see. The MITRE ATT&CK
Right.
blade, MITRE ATT&CK framework blade, where you can choose the different attack tactics and see if you have coverage for it or not, or even if you need it from an analytics rule perspective. A lot of folks have been waiting on that.
Out of official ban of announcement, Clive Watson, a former peer, lives in the UK, updated his workspace usage workbook.
Yeah.
Saw that come across, which is really good to understand what you're using that workspace for and certain things. So that's actually pretty good.
The user map that he created actually works with a watch list now, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can create a watch list that contains cities and longitude and latitude and bring those into the workbook instead of having to type in, doing the research every time to find the longitude, latitude.
I just wish people would stop using this watch list feature. I don't think like it.
Everybody seems to be integrated. Oh, by the way, I hate to tell you, some of those functions for ASIM, they utilize a watch list.
Yes, they do.
No more ASIM for me.
So Franklin, you're going to get watch list whether you like it or not. And I hope you don't like it.
Hey, Rod, Ed, where's your favorite place to get updates to Sentinel? Is it public blog? Is it internal DLs that you're on? Because I'm not
I
up to
go to
speed.
two sources primarily.
Okay,
three
what
sources.
are they?
I go to
Three.
the official tech community blog post. It's number 3.
Okay, and do you go there daily, or do you wait for an email to drive you there, or are you checking that daily?
You can subscribe to it.
You just
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna write this down.
Number 2, Jeremy Windmiller. His security weekly or security newsletter that comes out once a month. And number 1, I go to the Data AI blog and subscribe to the newsletter that is owned by Rod Trent. Matter of fact, I recommended it out to a lot of people that if you just had the one source to be able to go and get you a good place to go pivot off to go see, go to Mr. Rod Trent's. And that is sort of the 3 gospels that I use. And because if you go, you're right, you'll go everywhere.
Yeah. And I was kind of setting Rod up on a softball there with that one. I don't always read his stuff, but I need to. But I was curious about any other locations where you might.
I
pick
figure
up info.
I figure if it's important enough, Rod's going to bring it up in the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't even bother.
So you just wait for the podcast. That's very efficient of you. Yeah.
And the other thing that I look at, and no slight because he's coming on the show, like number 4 would be Matt Sussman's LinkedIn and videos, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's amazing.
And
When's
I
he
guess
coming on?
he is coming on.
Yeah. You don't even have to say because all this stuff keeps shuffling around.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the
this is
schedule
far-
on air quotes.
This is
Yeah.
far out enough that he's not gonna flake. This is April 27th.
Sweet. That's great. I can't wait to talk to him again. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man. He's
Love his
just
posts.
he's just been
And-
so swamped.
Well,
And
yeah,
who do we have on the results show next week?
We have Red Canary Atomic Red Team. They want to present some stuff on video, so we're going to record it. And then next week on the 9th is when Mr. Brody Cassell goes down in flaming defeat.
Did anybody really lose when you get an
again.
opportunity to write an exam and pass?
No, nobody really loses.
And besides,
know.
it pumps your ego up when you inevitably score higher than me, and then that gives you
Well,
happiness in life.
this is in your wheelhouse. If I were to miraculously defeat you in this, it would be a miracle because you're closer to the identity stuff by SNC than I am from the Sentinel piece. So I think this may be middle ground. I think it's middle ground between both of us. To tell the truth.
I haven't touched it in a year and a half, so it's just yeah.
I had a good just going through it and looking at it and like, oh my God, what did I sign up for here?
I know. No
I
more
know
no
it
more
is.
of these until fall, winter. Okay, I have a rule: no tests between spring and summer. So
Hey,
Well-
you're gonna have the new cybersecurity architect. Who's
Yes,
coming
that's
out
the
at
one
some
that we
point.
all got to go get at, except
Okay.
for Franklin. Franklin is
Okay.
excluded. He has to. What judges have to do something to a case?
Recuse.
Franklin has to recuse himself from taking that. He cannot be in the contest at all. I'll take
That's
my
fine.
chances. I'll take my chances with you and Rod.
yeah,
Right.
the only other one I haven't done that's security in air quotes is the AZ 500. So I was going to target that for fall, and then once I was done that, I was going to do this new fancy car architect one that you guys were
Yeah.
talking about.
I think you do well. You are so well rounded. The AZ 500.
Thank you, Ed. Well, it's just, but I'm in the modern work domain, right? So identity, don't really touch it unless you're on mergers and divestitures projects, which I specifically avoid because I hear they're a gong show. So I'm more in the M365 Defender space and then the information protection space. So I don't go into Azure all that often, right? And so when I studied for SC200, that was a lot of that was just like conceptually I understand this, but maybe not under the hood because I don't get my hands dirty. And like regularly when you guys bring up some of these like low-level features in Sentinel, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
Hell, I have no idea what we're talking about half of the time. I'm in the stuff. I'm like, they do what again? So actually in my tenant that updated, because it wasn't here today, I see the search preview in mine and I see the MITRE now.
oh, sweet.
So I want to show you guys something really quick. And then
Yeah, do it up.
Franklin, can you make me a host, please?
I already did.
You did? So let me share my
So
screen. here.
smart.
He is smart, man.
If we all just
Franklin.
compliment each other, the show goes easier, right?
You know, if today is National Compliment Day. Or was
Really?
it yesterday? Yeah, it
Thanks
was
for
either
telling me
yesterday or
that.
Yeah, man.
You're so great at telling us dates, Ed.
It is so refreshing to be disingenuous, right? I just love it. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Dark mode, love it. Yeah, good work.
Yeah. So this is an atypical query.
I mean, your
wouldn't
browser's not in
fancy-
dark mode. It's just the
What now?
page that's in dark mode.
Oh, well, I thought my browser bottom. I'm using the Vidalia. I only use 2 browsers now. The one that Rod Trent told me about, Vidalia, I'm saying it wrong, I know, and Brave. I'll default to Edge if just nothing else would work, right? Like a Microsoft
Really?
site. Mhm.
Interesting. Anyway,
Let me show
sorry.
you
So
something.
please start at the beginning. Yes.
All right. So assuming you have Sentinel, assuming you have some atypical log tables populated by virtue of what data connectors and log sources you have come in. So I ran this, right? So I ran this.
We're looking at the query window here that you look
Yeah.
selecting logs in Sentinel. Then you have the tables listed on the left and then the query on the right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And so I did a security alert where time generated, greater than 24 hours, limit 10. And within my environment, sometimes I turn stuff on. I did this stuff here, the exchange workflow anonymity. I did a forwarder, RDP connections. I'm doing stuff in my house. I just generated some traffic that will look suspicious. But once you get this and you go through it, you'll see things that have the information, tenant ID, alert name, description, provider name. But what if you want to rename one of the fields, right? Because this name doesn't really apply to what you're trying to map it to, and you want to be able to query against something that's a little bit more specific. So if you go to this ellipses, you can go extract fields from here, and it opens up this portal. So in here, I can take the columns represented by that query, and I can go in and add or change. So instead of, let's give a here, alert name, I can click on it, and then I can go, save extraction. You can then go in and manipulate this. Now, why mine is not taking it across, you should be able to do it. So once I have it, I save extraction. And of course, in my environment, maybe I'm missing something at the bottom.
Live
You
demo.
can do that with the KQL extend command too.
Yeah,
Or operator.
I did not realize you could modify the filter field name in here by going through this and opening up this particular custom fields piece here. So it's actually pretty good. Now, why my search results are not working? I don't know. Security alert.
And so what's a real world reason why you'd want to do that? You just don't like the field name and you'd want to customize it?
So you may suppose that you got a field name that wasn't represented inside the results of the, as Ren explained, results of the actual query, and it wasn't populated, or you did not have that column represented because the results didn't create that in the field. You want to add a new one. And when you tag it, as he showed, it allowed that field now to be part of that table to be represented in your queries and searches. And then when you open it up and you can click on it, it will say, oh, you can manifest that field in the columns now. I have a recording, but it was some stuff said that I couldn't trim out that was really hypersensitive. But mine is not working in my environment for a reason, or am I doing something wrong here? So if I go, it tells you right here, extraction chips, highlight an interesting value to do this, right? So I go over here and I'm going to grab, once again, I'm going to grab the description, because maybe I don't like this.
We're doing it on the JSON at the bottom.
Yeah, it gives y'all the JSON. What it's actually going to do is put that stuff on this side, but I can't.
Can you click on the JSON? Can you click on remediation steps?
Where at the, yeah, right here.
Yeah. Does that do anything for you?
Then let me do it. So it looks like
Are
certain
you supposed
fields,
to highlight the field name or check the box?
well, some of them are blue. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah,
So-
they're slightly shaded differently just because you've got the dark mode on. So we can see the ones that are grayed out, as they say, and then the ones that are.
So you click on the icon next to the field, and then to fix any incorrectly recognized fields, new examples are automatically here, main example. So if I click here, so filter, blah, 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 highlight an interesting value. So let's do that. Let me see.
Go to the value. Go to the value. Highlight the value.
Okay. How about we go right here?
You highlight it.
I'm trying to highlight. There you go. And there it is. So now you create a custom field. You can see it's text, numeric, Boolean, with.
Let's do text. I want to see what the output is.
And I go extract.
Got a special character in there, Ed. Gotta get rid of that.
I do? Where?
It's the underscore.
You gotta give it a name.
I didn't think you had to do that. No, that needs to stay there. That's just like when it add that suffix when you do a custom log CL. So that stays there. So when I got it,
That's
tells
not
me
what
again.
it says.
There it is. You got to scroll down. This dark thing is throwing me off, but you don't realize sometimes you got to scroll down. So I clicked extract.
You see how it says in red that it can't start with a special character? I know, I can't read either. Yeah.
This is gonna be a
Darn.
long show.
Yeah.
I can't make it work. I'll get better at it. It won't let me do it. So.
So,
Great demo, Ed.
Oh,
Great
no.
demo.
I know what's
No
going on.
way.
It was we'll just say user
Yeah.
login, right? And then I go extract, and there you go. This is what you're looking for.
So save extraction. Oh, you
Yes.
don't want to create the field, do you?
Yeah, I want to go ahead and
Okay.
create the field. So now instead of having that, I'll get that field. So now when I go into here, I can come down, and I think I called it login, user login or something. So I can come down here, and it takes a minute. He said anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll see it in here.
Cloud time. Yeah.
So, so Rod, what's this project field or keyword in KQL?
Project.
Project. Oh, project. That's what it drove me nuts,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's like,
explain.
it's like
explain-
print. We still have print in KQL too, but print is just
All right.
printing
So
whatever.
project and extend. What are those two keywords in KQL?
So project is just telling it what fields you don't want to display in your results, right? Or columns, sorry, data columns. Extend is a way of creating what is displayed in the bottom. For example, I could take the extend operator and create a brand new column. And just like Ed was doing, trying to rename data columns, I can rename those using extend. So I can say extend computer to host name, right? So now everything that's a computer shows up in the data column for host name, or I can use extend to do calculations or combine data from different columns into a single column. Extend, and just like Ed was doing there, you're not really changing the data or the data table. You're just creating an instance of how you want that data to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if I can get a cleaner recording and video that Ren did, I'll bring it back, and maybe we'll just make it a link. We'll upload it somehow in our infrastructure so someone who wants to see it. It's actually pretty cool for what the example that he showed and how he, I won't say stumbled upon it, but how he came upon his radar to try it that way. So
Just get Rin back on the show, and we'll get Rin's tips. 5 or 6. Sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've never done that before, so I like to know what's going on in the background with all that. So I'm definitely going to be playing with that for sure.
Yeah, putting those custom fields in there. So good call on the special character up front. I thought that the _CF was just being helpful to be able to do it. So, but yeah,
I hate reading tooltips myself. I just like hitting the button until it works. And
yeah, you keep pounding on it. It'll eventually work.
Oh man, a lot of jokes there. Okay, yeah.
Anyway, couple completion. I'm telling you, man, this is like the holy grail from Rod Trent, right?
Can't wait.
I feel smarter drinking out of it, right? Like I'm seeing the matrix. I'm seeing KQL just come down the screen over my eyes, right? I don't even see you guys anymore. I just see you guys as living queries. That's what you are now. It's living queries.
That's cool.
Like the matrix.
So what else new hit this week, Rod?
What else hit? Oh, something really awesome and exciting. We've talked about our KQL playground a lot. If you go to aka.ms/LA demo, anybody with a Microsoft account can actually log in. And that's what I used for the Must Learn KQL series. This week we announced free clustering, free KQL clusters for just anybody. You don't even need a Microsoft account to log in. You just go log in, create your own, go access the link and create your own cluster. And it's your own little KQL demo environment. And it's better than the KQL playground, because KQL playground is just a bunch of R data that you can play with. This one, you can actually ingest your own data and play with your own data. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Cool.
How is that going to change your thinking about your the material you produced? Are you going to do anything different now?
Nope, not a lot. Maybe for the advanced section, the advanced series, potentially. Not this current one. I'm not going to change it because I know exactly with this first series, I know exactly what the results are going to be because I know what data exists in our data. So I know they're going to actually get results. There's nothing worse than attending a workshop or
I can tell you don't count on that from LA demo. I have to tell you that. So how long does it take for an average person Brody, to actually go through your material for KQL. Must learn KQL series.
Oh, Brody? Did you ask Brody?
How
that
long
question?
would it take for Brody? No.
Oh, how long
I
would it
said
take for Brody?
average
An average person like Brody. Thank you. I've been called worse, Frank. Thank you.
Oh,
Somebody
my
has to
goodness.
be Aquaman in the Justice League. It's
I don't
just you,
even-
Brody.
As long as I'm not Seaman, I'll be Aquaman, sure. Yeah.
Man, I think that was Seaman or Aqua Lad.
Underwater
Aqualad.
Man. Underwater Man.
Underwater man.
All right, so really, how long would it take?
So if you actually participate, use the examples, follow the instructions, I would say maybe half hour, 45 minutes per session, per chapter. It's 20 chapters, right? You could do that in a month, right?
That's my thought. One
Get it
of my most favorite books around how to learn Azure is a book called Azure in a Month of Lunches,
yeah.
where they give you one. And it's awesome. I sort of approach that the way with your stuff. I did like one a day, right?
That's
And
how
the
I
time
originally
to-
learned PowerShell. PowerShell and month of lunches. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a very good
Yeah, but
series book.
it's like a series. I have to binge watch something. I can't
No, I'm like on the edge of my seat with Star Trek right now. Every week, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next.
Which Star Trek?
episode.
Discovery?
Star Trek Discovery, and I think Picard. Oh my God, I think Picard's coming out soon.
Yes,
that's right.
it is. I didn't know he's a Trekkie. You know,
Oh
I
yeah,
take
massive
back,
Trekkie.
I take back all the bad things I said about
Oh,
you.
and do you know that they're spinning off that other series, Strange New Worlds? Because when Discovery, no spoilers, originated in that timeline,
Mhm.
like that what's his name, Captain Pike, that
Oh, yeah.
crew with young Spock is gonna be their own series that's coming out later this year.
Mhm.
So it's like,
And they have a new cartoon too.
Cartoon.
Yes.
Janeway's in it.
Is she? I haven't
Yep.
seen the newest one yet. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Those are
so-
really. Are you talking
All
about
right,
Below
back to
Decks?
tech. We don't nerd it out. Frank is going
Okay,
to
I could
sleep
talk
over
about this
there.
forever. Yeah. Oh my
He's
God.
going to
Okay.
sleep.
Okay.
I couldn't. I tried watching the cartoon. I can't do it.
It's funny. Below Decks is hilarious. Like
Below Decks is funny. This is different. It's
super-
not Below Decks. It's another.
Oh,
one.
it's
Below
different.
Decks is
It's the cadets one. I haven't seen that one yet.
yeah. It is actually pretty.
I'm-
Yeah, it's a cadets one. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Okay. I'll look that up.
My
All right.
humor's too Monty Python, I guess. It didn't resonate.
That's fair. You seem like
my humor is pretty well rounded. I can include lowbrow. I'm good with that. You know, Monty Python's a classic. It'll
Yeah.
make me laugh till this day.
Yeah.
Maybe it was two doves in a coconut. So,
Doesn't matter
what
he
else?
grips it.
You know, excited about some of the guests that are coming on. MDI is no longer the tool set that people say, trust us, you don't want, you know, it's really cool, but it doesn't do anything. And if it does do something, you'll see the coolness, but you don't want anything to happen because you don't want to see the coolness because something happened. But we got two guests that are going to come on and talk about the roadmap for it. So I'm excited about seeing that.
Yeah.
we have our MDO person, or did Trevor scare them off?
Yeah, Trevor scared them off. They have gone ghost and silent on me. It's
Actually,
like, is that right? Yeah, you want me on the show to ambush me? Nah.
no,
But I
that's-
gotta no, I'm just kidding. Trevor, you did not do it. The
Okay,
person
good.
is I think the person is changing roles and couldn't say that. Right. So that's what's
Fair.
going on. But I have a good list of the next person I'm going to bring from that was recommended. And I have two people that I'm going to reach out to. Miss Diana Marks. She is the PM for attack simulation training. And I'm also going to get from the MDO side a Mr. Guli. Well, actually, he left, so I got to cross out against his face. His name was Gulian Gubar, but he's left. He was the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 PM, but he's gone. So I have a pretty good list of some folks I still want to reach out to. Maybe Tim Wolford from the M365 side, Defender. I was going to get Kasia Kapelinska. And I'm reading from paper, man. Kapelinska, but
Don't lose that paper.
When we do have the MDO person on, definitely we're going to have Trevor in to co-host the show. I'm going to enjoy
No,
that.
well, man, we can't make it a battle royale. Let's get them on first, and then if they want to come back,
We need some lead-in music like the jingle for the dating game.
Celebrity deathmatch. Remember those claymations? Celebrity deathmatch.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
All right,
start
I think
hosting debates between the product people. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
insult competition would be better. You know, that would
Well,
be
I mean,
more interesting.
that's
To
every
any
day.
new listeners out there, we generally don't do this, but this is how laid back the show is. You can come on, talk. You know, we there's no judgment here, unless Trevor's on.
No judgment.
He wants to come back on the show again.
He was good. I loved how we
Yeah.
kept him like an extra
he-
15, 20 minutes, and he was trying to get to his date. You could tell he was squirming. He's like, I
I
gotta go
felt
to
bad
dinner.
that he had to stand the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
So yeah, I mean, he can come on anytime and co-host. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
told him
is
to
there
come
any-
on the calls.
Is there anything else this week?
Nothing. I'm looking forward to we had a little week off from having guests and preparing and everything, but I'm bowled up about being able to have a pretty solidified schedule for the next 30, 45 days. Some good topics are going to come out. And excited about some of the stuff that we're working on in the background. So that's it. I can't think of anything else. Big shout out,
All right.
Miss Ann Johnson. This is Edward. How you doing?
Hi, Ann, if you're listening. And
Brody
hey,
has
also big shout out to the Microsoft security team working with the government in Ukraine right now.
Yes.
Right, a lot of blog posts have come out about that recently. Everything going on, so it's
Yeah.
great to be a part of this organization working with the government there right now.
For sure. Someone has to stand up.
Absolutely, got to stand up to bullies.
Got to stand up. Got to stand up. I'm not going to take any particular side, but you go help even when help is not even asked for. You go do what you got to do, right? And I can appreciate that. Makes me proud to be associated with an organization. Really
Yeah,
does.
and unfortunately, that country's been the test bed of cybersecurity-based attacks for over a decade now, right? And like post 2014 and 2015, 2016, there was the power outages over Christmas that were caused by malicious actors. It's been the
Brody,
hotbed.
I'm trying my damnedest to stay off my soapbox, but you're forcing my right foot to step up on it. So I'm gonna step back down because we'll get lost.
Yeah,
But
I know.
agree with
I
you.
know. Just shout out Microsoft security team working with
Shout out Microsoft
governments
security
everywhere.
team. Shout out to Dart. Shout out to TRIP over at Microsoft. You guys do great work. Shout out to Microsoft Federal Cybersecurity Team. You guys are outstanding over there. I got to see you in action. Yeah. Don't let anybody think that we don't have some powerhouses over here as far as talent.
No doubt.
You guys are pretty good, right?
No doubt.
Better than Brody jumping from a helicopter.
We're going to
Yeah.
drop Brody in behind enemy lines. He'll take care of it.
Oh yeah, flak jacket for sure. Yeah, my Surface. Yeah,
And the skis.
and
Yeah.
I snowboard. I'm trying to ski.
Snowboard.
It's fun. It's fun.
Brody has an armor made out of, Surface Pros and then Surface Duos across his arms, right?
It's just no. They give me the budget armor, so it's just armor with old Windows phones, right? Just
Oh, yeah.
lining.
Yeah, Windows
Nokia.
Windows NT. Anytime a bullet gets near you, it just crash. So it's going to the ground. Wouldn't do anything. There you go.
All right.
All right. So to our listeners, I think that's it. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have a very interesting guest to come on. We're going to talk some good stuff for the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to improve the podcast for everyone to get a little bit more interactive. So let's see what happens in 2022. With that being said, good night, everyone.
Good night.
We'll leave the light on for you.